Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome to St. Croix Falls for tonight's Heart of the North conference matchup between the Northwestern Tigers and your St. Croix Falls Saints. St. Croix Falls comes into tonight's contest with a 14-10 overall record. They're a perfect 3-0 in the conference and sitting atop the Heart of the North at 3-0, along with the Barron Golden Bears also sitting at 3-0. But right behind them, the Northwestern Tigers come in with a 13-5 overall record, and they're 2-1 in the conference. Their only loss coming to those Bears from Barron. Looking forward to a good match here tonight in St. Croix Falls. Northwestern making the trip down tonight for this Tuesday night contest here in St. Croix. Thanks for tuning in and watching here on We Are SCF. Whether you're cheering for the Tigers or you're cheering for the Saints, we're glad that you've tuned in. Glad you're a part of tonight's broadcast. I want to thank our sponsors for making these broadcasts possible. You'll see those sponsors scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So thankful for them and their continued support of We Are SCF. It's been a fun fall so far. Volleyball, football. I know soccer is also playing right now. When we get an update on the soccer game, we'll make sure to pass that update along to you and be able to let you know how they're doing out there in the field. They're finishing up their game right now. So once again, thank you for tuning in and watching here on We Are SCF. We're looking forward to a good one here tonight. Again, it's the Northwestern Tigers and your St. Croix Falls Saints. We'll be back with starting lineups, national anthems, and the beginning here in St. Croix Falls in just a few minutes. Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to St. Croix Falls for tonight's Heart of the North conference matchup. It's the Northwestern Tigers and the St. Croix Falls Saints here for this Heart of the North conference matchup. Northwestern Tigers make the trek down to St. Croix Falls tonight for this Tuesday night face-off with the Saints. The Tigers come into tonight's matchup with a 2-1 record in the Heart of the North Conference. That puts them in third place behind St. Croix Falls and Barron, who both are a perfect 3-0. The Northwestern Tigers have a 13-5 overall record, 2-1 in the conference. St. Croix Falls 14-10 overall record, and they're a perfect 3-0 in the Heart of the North. It's about time for the national anthem, and then we'll be ready to go with starting lineups in just a minute. Thanks for joining us here on We Are SCF. Welcome to St. Croix Falls for tonight's Heart of the North Conference matchup between the Northwestern Tigers and your St. Croix Falls Saints. Now, to honor America and those defending our freedom, please rise at your table, remove your hats, place your hand over your heart for the playing of our national anthem. All right, once again, welcome here in St. Croix Falls. Glad to have you as a part of tonight's broadcast. Looking forward to a good one here tonight in St. Croix. It's the 2-1 Tigers against the 3-0 St. Croix Falls Saints, at least as far as the Heart of the North Conference goes. Looking forward to what tonight will have in store for us. Here you're starting for the Tigers. Junior number 5, Finley Peterson. Sophomore number 6, Addison Harms. Senior number 8, Shelby Hessel. Freshman number 9, Savannah Moore. Senior number 10, Amy Sutherland. Senior number 16, Emma Dahl. And libero number 2, the junior, Genna Cruiser. And for the Saints, number 1, junior Britta Olson. Junior number 4, McKenna Warner. Junior number 10, Riley Lean. Junior number 11, Olivia Shimon. Senior number 13, Lucy Braun. Junior number 16, Jocelyn Shimon. And the libero, junior number 7, Faith Allram. That'll be your starting lineups here for St. Croix Falls. The Tigers are coached by Charlie Hessel, and the Saints are coached by Stacy Huff. So again, we're looking forward to tonight's broadcast. First volleyball game that I've been able to do this year. Thank you to Mrs. Tara Rose for doing our first home game. And now we're ready to go here in St. Croix Falls. Again, it'll be the Northwestern Tigers wearing those yellow tops, black shorts. And the St. Croix Falls Saints on the left side of your screen with the white tops, blue shorts. St. Croix Falls will begin serving. It'll be number 4, Warner, back to serve for the Saints. Here comes Warner's serve. There it is. And we're off. A nice hit already by number 8, Shelby Hessel, scoring the first point for the Tigers. She puts it off the blockers for the Saints. Back to serve now. For the Tigers was Finley Peterson. Britta drops it down. And we're tied up at 1. Britta didn't get all of that one as she hit it off her fingertips, but was able to knock it in for a point. Serve now comes from Lean. Set a big drive. That's number 6, Addison Harms. Knocks it into the blockers and scores a point for the Tigers. Now serving is going to be number 8, Shelby Hessel. So Hessel back to serve now for the Tigers. Serve comes over. Picked up Warner. Bumps it, now brought across for the Tigers. Set by Peterson. Nice drive, but long. And St. Croix Falls picks up another point, 2-2. Oh, they're going to say that was tipped, actually. So I got to go back and change the score. So it should be 3-1. And now that's going to be in the net. So now it'll be 3-2 once I get the score changed. So 3-2 now is our score. Tigers up by 1. Into serve now for the Saints. Number 5, Abby Palmer, the junior, steps in. Back to serve. She serves it across, picked up. Set by Peterson, now bumped back across. Allram to Britta. Britta keeps it alive, sends it across to the Tigers. Lauren Witta tried to get to it, but just over her overstretched arms and fingertips. That'll tie it up at 3. So Palmer back to serve now for the Saints. Second serve comes across, picked up. Brought back to the Saints. Saints wait to set it. Faith sets it over to Britta, close to the net, and that'll be a point for the Tigers as the set serve went a little too close to the net. Britta couldn't elevate like she was hoping to and hit it right into the blockers. Back to serve now. Harms brings it across. Allram sends it to Olsen. Olsen over to Braun. Braun into the blockers and out of bounds. It'll be 4-3 now. At 4-4, I'm sorry. And back to serve is going to be Britta Olson. Olson, the junior for the Saints, back to serve. Knuckleball serve comes across, picked up nicely by the Tigers. Warner winds up and goes just long. So that'll be a point for the Tigers. Into serve now is Emma Dahl. Dahl back to serve. She replaces number 25, Lauren Witta. Britta sets it up. Warner drives it down. Picked up by Hessel. Now Hessel bumps the free ball across. Britta jump set. And a big drive by Braun. Braun drives it down and scores. We're tied up at 5. So we knew this was going to be a close game, and it's looking that that's going to be the case here in St. Croix. 5-5 is our score. Back to serve now. Shimon puts it into the net. Into the game now for the Tigers. Number 10, Amy Sutherland. Sutherland back to serve. She sends it across. Palmer keeps it alive. And off the antenna. As that ball was back so far, Lean really had no choice but to get it into the antenna. Serve comes across. Lean brings it back across again now for the Tigers. Big hit by Hessel, but blocked by the Saints. 7-6. Into the game for the Saints. Number 11, Olivia Shimon. Olivia Shimon comes in. Braun back to serve. Braun sends it across the net, just over the net. Free ball comes across, now set by Britta. Warner drives. And point for the Saints. I didn't know if Faith touched that one or not, but she pulled her hand away in time. So back to serve once again is Braun. Last serve just went over the net. This one just a little too low. Into the net for a point for the Tigers. 8-7 now. Into the game for the Tigers, number 6, Addison Harm checks in. Cruisers serve into the net. Tied up at 8. 8-8 now is our score. Warner back to serve. Warner's serve is out, so that'll be another point. 3 straight points off the serving errors for these two teams combined. Lauren Witta back in the game for the Tigers. Peterson's serve comes across up into the ceiling. Britta brings it over, and that's going to be a point, unconventional point there for the Saints, but they'll take it. Nonetheless, we're tied up at 9. Riley Lean serve comes across. Tipped over by Hessel. Now Britta drives it back the other way. Set comes. Hessel drives again. Kept alive. Britta, mid shot. Kept alive. Nice volley here by these two teams. They got to get it across, and they're not going to. So the Tigers get the point on that long volley. Hessel's serve comes across. Britta with a bomb. Dug out nicely by the Tigers. Now blocked. Blocked by number 11, Olivia Shimon. With the block. Abby Palmer back to serve once again. Palmer's serve into the net. So unforced errors here by both teams, keeping this game close, this set close. Hessel's serve comes across. Set. Braun now drives. Blocked though. Combination of Witta and Moore. Tigers now have a 2-point lead, 12-10. Serve comes across once again. Now set. Braun drives. Nice dig out again by the Tigers, nearly into the net. Warner sets it across, going long, and too long that time. And the Tigers now up 13-10. Biggest lead, I believe, of the night, 13-10. Harms back to serve once again. Her serve comes across, picked up. Braun tips it over, keeps it alive. Tigers get it set back. And a long drive. That was by Quincy Olson, but that was just long. And a point for the Saints. Back to serve now, Britta Olson for the Saints. 13-11 here in set number 1. Olson's big serve comes across, picked up. And a big drive, but blocked by the Saints. It was Savannah Moore on the big drive, but blocked by the middle. And the Saints climb back within 1 now, 13-12. Britta's knuckleball serve comes across, picked up by Hessel. Big drive, Quincy Olson adds that 2-point separation once again into the game now. Emma Dahl for the Tigers. She'll be serving. Shimon drives. Olson drives. Oh, as that one went long, went off the arm of Allram. That might have been out of bounds on the back line, but maybe too close to tell. Emma Dahl back to serve once again for the Tigers. Her serve comes across. Allram picks it up. Olson sets. Warner drives. Nice job by Hessel. She keeps it alive for the Tigers. Now blocked by the Saints. And that block is going to end in a point. St. Croix Falls picks up the point. 15-13. Jocelyn Shimon back to serve. Her serve into the net. So 16-13. Amy Sutherland into the game for the Tigers. She's back to serve. Sutherland now winds up and serves. Allram. Olson. Lean. Oh, they're going to get a lift call. Off the Savannah Moore tip. So 17-13 now. Olson. Lean drives it down. Hessel drives. Blocked into the net or the Saints. I couldn't see which one it was, but a point nonetheless for the Saints. Shimon back in for the Saints. Braun back to serve. Lucy's serve. Nice serve again, just across the net. Big drive. Kept alive by the ceiling. Now kept alive again. Tip goes across. This time less power, but it still comes across. Warner brings it back for the Tigers. And the Saints are going to come away with the point. That was Finley Peterson, who had a huge drive into the Saints. And honestly, it probably would have gone into the stands, but it hit the ceiling, thankfully, for the Saints. Staying on the Saints side. Saints kept it alive, and they get the point. Braun's serve comes across once again. Another big hit there by Hessel. Now Lean brings it across the other way, but too wide, I'm sorry. And it'll be a point for the Tigers. 18-15 is our score. Jenna Cruiser back to serve now for the Tigers. Her serve into the net. Kenna Warner now back to serve for the Saints. Her knuckleball serve comes across, picked up by the Tigers. Britta drives it down, picked up again by the back row of the Tigers. Warner sets, Britta taps it across. Hessel brings it across. Now they try to the back, and they're going to say under the net. So a point for the Saints as the Tigers, I think, got under the net. Back to serve now is Warner once again. 18-17 is our score. Warner's serve comes across, picked up by Hessel. Peterson slaps it across. Britta drives it down. Off the blockers, out of bounds. Tie game, 18-18 is our score. So Tigers stretch that lead to 2 and then 3, and then back to 2 and then to 3 again, and then finally the Saints are able to tie it back up 18-18. Warner's serve comes across, picked up by the Tigers. Now Brack again. Faith over to Britta. Britta drives it down. Thompson set it up, and it's going to be a point for the Tigers. Lauren Witta back in the game for the Tigers. Back to serve is Finley Peterson. Peterson's serve comes across. And McKenna Warner just waited there thinking it was going to bounce off the net, and it just kind of skimmed the bottom of the net. And that'll be a point for the Tigers. So Peterson back to serve once again. Her serve comes across. Picked up by Braun off the ceiling. Now over to Britta. Britta drives it down and in. St. Croix Falls has to get used to playing with the ceiling here, as lots of balls end up making their way up into the rafters here in St. Croix. Big drive and in. That drive was by Shelby Hessel, right at the feet of the line judge, who gets out of the way but continues the call. 21-19. Britta tries to go to the corner. But unable to get over there. She tried to skip it across, and it was not happening that time. So 22-19 is our score. We'll be back in just a moment.
At Burnett Medical Center, we celebrate all walks of life. From our very first steps to our sprinting strides, from on-the-job site to afterlife retirement. At BMC, we embrace every pair of feet that walks through our doors. Our comprehensive care knows no bounds. It's for the newborns, the professionals, the adventurers, and those who've traveled many miles. We're here to support you. Your journey is unique, and so is our approach to your well-being. Step into BMC, where comprehensive healthcare meets compassion. Burnett Medical Center, providing healthcare for all walks of life.
Hessel's serve brought across. Shimon drives it down into the blockers and out of bounds. It'll be a point for the Saints. So let me get my score correct here. 22-20. Peterson's set comes down to Quincy Olson. Her spike goes into the block. Get this right here. There you go. Into the net, and it'll be a point for the Tigers. Harm's serve comes. Shimon brings it across. Britta drives it down, picked back up again, brought back over to the Saints. Faith bump sets over, and out. Just out, so 24-20 for the Tigers. Addison Harms back to serve. Trying to win set number one, but not before a timeout is called. So we'll take that timeout along with them and be back after just a minute.
Look, everybody wanna go and talk it. At the same time, gotta walk it. Better yet, run, go, hit a lick, divvy up with my homies, and we do it all again.
Both these teams here tonight have had a lot of success to start the season. The Tigers 13-5 overall, 2-1 in the conference. Saints 14-10, but 3-0 in the conference. Warner elevates, drives into the net, and it's going to be the Tigers who take set number one. So 25-20 is set number one. That'll go to the Tigers. And we'll be back here in just a moment for the start of set number two. All right, back here in St. Croix Falls. St. Croix Falls is up. Sorry about that. St. Croix Falls is up. I'm sorry. The Tigers are up 1-0. We're in set number two. Trying to update our scoreboard here, but it's not working. So we're trying to get everybody rotations set right. Finley Peterson back to serve for the Tigers. Gets ready to serve here. Now here comes the serve. Serve comes across, picked up. Brought back across for the Tigers. Peterson sets, big block off the Saints. That'll be a point for the Tigers. So Tigers now up 1-0 here in set number two, where they lead 1-0. Finley Peterson back to serve once again. Her serve comes across, picked up. Now Britta Olsen brings it across. Kept alive by Hessel. Driven down. Now Lean. Back to Hessel, and it was tipped, but it was out. I'm sorry, out but tipped, so it'll be a point for the Tigers. Finley Peterson back to serve. Once again, her serve comes across, hits the net. Unfortunate for the Saints there as the serve hit the net, slowed down and dropped right into the soft spot. Saints down 3-0. And there's a break for the Saints as Peterson's serve goes into the net. Back to serve now for the Saints, number 4, Warner. So here comes Warner's serve. Knuckleball serve comes across. Nice job by Warner, keeping it alive. Britta drives it down. Set by Peterson. Drive by Hessel. Kept alive and then dropping down under the net for a point for the Tigers. So 4-1. Olivia Brunette checks in for the Tigers. Replaces number 10, Sutherland. Tigers with the ace. 5-1 now. Off the ceiling again. And so now the Tigers have started this set number 2 with a 6-1 lead. And the drive by Hessel is long. That'll be a point for the Saints. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in and watching here on We Are SCF. Thank those sponsors scrolling across the bottom of the screen, like the Star Education Foundation, new sponsor this year. And the Saints pick up another point as that serve just kind of skipped across, touched a bunch of Tigers. That's too many. Celine back to serve once again, brings it across and just out of bounds. So another point for the Saints. Allram checks back in, replacing Lean. Back to serve now for the Tigers. Serving it into the net is Cruiser. Abby Palmer checks in for the Saints. She'll go back to serve. Junior makes her way back. Serve comes across. Picked up by Hessel. Big drive. I believe that was Savannah Moore, the freshman, who drives it in and scores. Savannah Moore, the freshman, but she can elevate. One thing I noticed about her is she can elevate up high and then just drive that ball down. Reminds me of Britta Olsen for the Saints as a freshman. I remember watching her just elevate just like that and drives it into the blockers for the Tigers. She'll get another opportunity here, brings it across, picked up by Cruiser, now kept alive, and it's going to be Brunette who uses her fingertips to get that one across. Shimon brings it across, set by Dahl. Drive now for the Tigers, off the Saints, into the crowd. 9-4 is our score. So 5-point lead here for the Saints. Nice job by Palmer, keeping it alive. No touches, out of bounds. Point for the Tigers. Warner with a big drive off the tip of Cruiser. That'll be a point for the Saints. Saints Down by 5 here. They trail 10-5. Britta tips it off the net, keeps it alive though by the Tigers. Burnett brings it across and scores. Hit the net, rolled down the net, and found the soft spot. And it's 11-5 now in favor of the Tigers. Amy Sutherland checks in to serve for the Tigers. And that one is long, so it'll be a point for the Saints. Lots of serving errors here for both teams. Saints probably leading in that category. Faith Allram back to serve now for the Saints. Her serve comes across. Big drive by Moore. 12-6. Britta keeps it alive. Warner brings it across. Moore keeps it alive for the Tigers. This time it was a drive by Hessel, but blocked by Braun. Britta sets it. Lean drives it in. St. Croix Falls will be back in action on Thursday night against Hayward here in St. Croix. We'll have that game here on We Are SCF. Braun sends it across. Warner drives and scores. Warner gets it to the back, just in front of that back line for a point. Braun back to serve once again. Her serve comes across, picked up by Cruiser. And that Shelby Hessel tips it across, but sent back for the Saints. Saints now back within 3, 12-9. Braun still serving. Her serve comes across. Goes deep this time. Off the shoulder of Amy Sutherland. And a point for the Saints. 12-10. Timeout by the Tigers. During this timeout, I want to let you know that coming up on October the 11th at 2 p.m. Is Bingo, Taco Bingo, sponsored by the Star Education Foundation. And the Star Education Foundation, a great foundation here in St. Croix Falls, providing resources for St. Croix Falls School District, resourcing tons of different projects throughout the school, and would love to have you come and be a part of it. There's tacos, raffles, bingo, prizes for kids. This is a family-friendly event, October 11th. Dinner is at 2 p.m., bingo at 4 p.m. Make sure to be here for the Star Education Foundation Taco Bingo happening here in St. Croix Falls. Again, October 11th, 2025. 2 o'clock dinner, 4 o'clock bingo. Back to serve now for the Saints is Braun. Again, sends it across. Tigers keeping it alive. Hessel brings it across. Now it's going to be Lean who tips it over. Hessel to Dahl. And a big drive by number 5, Peterson. And that goes off the Saints blockers out of bounds. It'll be a Tiger point. So 13-10 now in favor of the Tigers. Number 7. Simjek checks in for the Tigers. And a nice job by Warner. Catches everybody off guard as she just slides that one across. They're going to... Correction. That I don't know I didn't see what happened. I was trying to get the score, but they changed that. They originally awarded that to the Saints, but then gave it to the Tigers. And then Finley Peterson followed that up with an ace. They're up 15-10 now, are the Tigers. Peterson goes long this time. St. Croix Falls picks up a point, 15-11. Warner back to serve now for the Saints. Warner's serve comes across. Ace in front of Amy Sutherland. 15-12. Saints back within 3. They've climbed within 3 several times and just haven't been able to make it any closer than that. We'll see what they can do here. Warner's serve comes across. Set. Big drive by Shelby Hessel, who drives it in and scores for the Tigers. Burnett checking in. She replaces Amy Sutherland. Served by Shelby Hessel. It's brought back by the Saints. Peterson sets it up for the big drive. Now the free ball comes across. Peterson set again. Across to Burnett. Burnett drives. Blocked, though, by the Saints. That'll be a point for the Saints. So 16-13. Back to serve over from that left side. The far side is Riley Lean. Waiting for, get everyone set here. Now we're ready to roll. Britta Olsen been quiet for a while, but not for long, as that is off the back row of the Tigers to the back wall of the gym for a point. So Saints now climb within 2 here, 16-14. Riley Lean back to serve once again. Her serve goes short this time, picked up. Set, Burnett drives, and off of Warner. That'll be a point for the Tigers. So back to 3 points, 17-14. Addison Harms serving for the Tigers. Harms' serve comes across. Warner sets. Tipped across by Shimon, I think it was. Britta drives down off the blocker. That'll be a point for the Saints. 17-15. Abby Palmer checks back in. She replaces Shimon. Palmer ready to serve here for the Saints. Saints down by 2. Burnett picks it up. And that's going to be long. That'll be a point for the Saints. Just long. I didn't see who that was by the Tigers, but Peterson trying to tie it up here, 17-16. Burnett. Peterson sets. Back to Burnett. Burnett gets it. Now Braun tried to go back row as everyone was up front, but Tigers were able to rebound, and that is going to be a point for the Saints. Tied up 17-17. Saints have trailed by as many as 6 here, I believe. I believe it was 12-6. Short set now comes back as it was blocked. Free ball comes across. Warner over to Britta. Britta drives it down and in. St. Croix Falls takes the lead. 18-17 here in set number 2. And a timeout is called. We'll take that timeout along with them and be right back after this message. All right, we're back here in St. Croix Falls. Set number 2. The Tigers, Northwestern Tigers, leads 1-0. But here in set number 2, it is St. Croix Falls who has a slim 18-17 lead. They've battled back from down 6 to take the lead. Burnett drives, kept alive by Palmer. Olsen drives. Peterson sets. Burnett tips it across, kept alive momentarily, and Palmer brings it across. Big drive by the freshman. Out, not touched. Point for the Saints. So 19-17 now here in St. Croix. Palmer back to serve again. Gets it over to Burnett. Peterson sets. Hessel brings it across, and miscommunication there by the Saints results in a point for the Tigers. Emma Dahl checks into the game for the Tigers. She'll be back to serve. Dahl serves. Britta sets it up. Braun drives. Dahl sets it up and blocked. That'll be a point for the Saints. 20-18. St. Croix Falls up by 2 now. Britta Olsen back to serve for the Saints all the way to the back of the gym. Making her way forward. Now the big serve. Goes to the back line. Picked up by Cruiser. Burnett drives. And off the hands of the Saints. That'll be a point for the Tigers. 20-18. Amy Sutherland checking in now. She replaces Burnett. Amy Sutherland back to serve now for the Tigers. Her serve comes across, goes wide, and it'll be a point for the Saints. 21-19. Once again, thank you for tuning in and watching here, and we are SCF. Whether you're cheering on the Tigers or the Saints, we're glad you're here. Allram's serve comes across. Set by number 16, Dahl, and a big drive. That was Hessel, I believe, with the drive, but kept alive by the Saints. Warner with a big drive of her own. That's in for a point. 22-19 is our score. I want to say, if you're watching and cheering on the Tigers, and if I am mispronouncing a name, I am sorry. It is not intentional. I want to do my best to give everyone the proper recognition and credit. That is kept alive. And a drive now comes. Warner drives and scores. 23-19. Coach Hessel getting some clarification on that. I'm blocked by the official up in the stand, so I could not see what happened there. Ball comes across now. A tip across by Hessel. Kept alive by the Saints. Brings across by Palmer. Cruiser. Saints got to get it across and into the net. So 23-20 is our score. 23-20. Back to serve now is number 9, Savannah Moore. Moore. Her serve now comes across. Picked up by Allram. Britta sets. Braun drives. And off the block. And then off the fingertips of the Saints. That'll be another point for the Tigers. 23-21 now is our score. Savannah Moore back to serve once again. The freshman for the Tigers. Lofts one across. Olsen sets. Warner drives off the fingertips of Savannah Moore. That'll be a point for the Saints. St. Croix Falls trying to get that elusive number 25 here and pick up the victory here in set number 2. Again, Tigers up 1-0. Braun with a big serve. Hessel tried to tip it across, couldn't get there, and St. Croix Falls wins set number 2. So we're tied up 1-1 here. We'll be back here in St. Croix Falls. in just a few minutes. Tied up 1-1. All right, we're back here in St. Croix Falls. It's set number 3 about to start. We're tied up 1-1. Northwestern won the first set. St. Croix Falls takes set number 2, and we're ready here for set number 3. Again, both these teams, a lot of success, especially in the heart of the North Saints. Or I'm sorry, the Northwestern Tigers coming with a 2-1 or 2-1 record in the heart of the North. Their only loss coming to Barron. And now in St. Croix Falls coming in with a 3-0 conference record. Abby Warner getting things started here. I'm sorry, McKenna Warner brings it across for the ace. So McKenna Warner gets the first ace here of set number 3. Back to serve once again for the Saints. Her serve comes across, picked up by Cruiser. And a little miscommunication there. Saints will take it for point number 2. St. Croix Falls battled back in set number 2. They were down 12-6. Came back to win 25-21. Warner's serve picked up by Cruiser. Now Hessel slaps it across. Allram keeps it alive. Olsen tries to go to the corner and dropped it in. St. Croix Falls out to a 3-0 lead. So good start here in set number 3 for the Saints. Really partway through the second set. Now they're continuing into this third set. A lot of momentum here for the Saints. McKenna Warner back to serve once again for the Saints. Warner's serve comes across, picked up by Cruiser. Now up into the ceiling and down quickly. That'll be a point for the Tigers, for the Saints. And the Tigers take a quick timeout here to talk about it. Once again, I want to say that on October 11th, it's Taco Bingo, sponsored by the Star Education Foundation. Star Education Foundation does a fantastic job supporting all things St. Croix Falls School District. They have supported lots of school projects in the elementary school, middle school, high school, and have made a huge difference. And they do a great job raising a lot of funds and also support and awareness for all things St. Croix Falls. And so October 11th, Taco Bingo, dinner at 2, bingo at 4. Warner sets it across to Olsen. Olsen drives down, big block by Peterson kept alive off the net. They got to get it across, and they do as Harms brings it across. Nice job by Lean. Now set by Dahl. Big drive by number 8, Hessel. Lean with the left hand brings it across. Set, it's going to go back to Hessel. Hessel brings it and touched by Braun. That'll be a point for the Tigers. You could tell Braun on that one, as she was sticking her hand out, she was trying to pull it back, knowing that she didn't want to touch it, but she did. Finley Peterson drives it across on the serve for the Tigers. Lean kept it alive, but tipped by both Addison Harms and Shelby Hessel. Another point for the Tigers. So 4-2 after the timeout. Tigers cut the Saints lead in half. And that'll be an ace. 4-3. Finley Peterson, nice job serving here tonight for Peterson. She went on a couple runs earlier tonight as well in the previous sets. Here she gets 3 straight coming out of that timeout. Or 2 straight. 3 straight points, 2 straight serves. Lean keeps it alive. Set. Now big drive by number 8, Hessel, but out of bounds. It'll be St. Croix Falls point. 5-3. We'll be back in action here on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. It's the Hayward Hurricane into town. Nice ace by the Saints. That was sorry. That was Lean on the ace. Here comes her second serve. Tried to go back to that same spot. And another point ace for the Saints. Checking in, is number 4, Zifko. And now this one into the net for a point for the Saints. Once again, congratulations to this Unity St. Croix Falls soccer team for their victory tonight. 2-0, I believe it was. Served by Hessel. Now set by Hessel. Set again by Peterson. Now cross. Olsen, and they're going to say into the net for the Saints was Shimon. So 7-5 now is our score. And the Saints, a little misfire there. So 7-6 now. So St. Croix Falls started here, set number 3, scored 4 consecutive points. Tigers took a timeout, climbed within 1 at 4-3. Now it's 7-6. Warner, Shimon with a drive, and the point for the Saints. Abby Palmer checking in, replaces Shimon. Palmer back to serve once again. Her serve comes across. Cruiser. And that's not going to be good enough there, as good effort there by Quincy Olsen. Tried to run basically to the Tiger student section and give it a whack, but not quite enough to get it across. So Palmer's second serve into the net. It had been a while since the Saints had hit one into the net. The first set especially seemed like they were hitting the into the net frequently. Addison Harms with an ace. Addison Harms serving for the Tigers. 9-8 is our score. St. Croix Falls up by 1. Into the net for the Tigers. Cruiser comes back in. Britta Olsen back to serve now for the Saints. Olsen hiding among the student section. Makes her way forward, serves it across. Peterson over to Cruiser. Cruiser brings it across. Warner elevates and scores. Nice job there by Warner. Olsen back to serve once again. 11-8 now is our score. Serve comes across. Peterson sets. Drive by Olsen. And a point for the Tigers. Emma Dahl checks in for the Tigers. Back to serve now is Dahl. Her serve into the net. That'll be a point for the Saints. Allram with the serve. And off the fingertips of Olsen. That'll be a point for the Tigers. Zifko now into the game for the Tigers. She'll be back to serve. Zifko, a sophomore for the Tigers, sends it across. Palmer to Olsen to Braun. Hessel drove for the Tigers. Kept alive by Cruiser. Hessel sends it back. Big hit by number 8, Hessel, but into the blockers of the Saints, who put it down. Great volley there by both teams. Saints come away with the point on that one. St. Croix Falls up now 13-10. Braun back to serve. Braun has been the ace server for the Saints tonight, I would say. Hessel pushes it to the back row. Lean drives down and scores on a big hit by Riley Lean from the far side. Gets those long arms moving and drove it in there. Braun now back to serve. Braun brings it across. Set by Dahl. Big drive by Moore, but blocked by the Saints. And Warner, I believe it was, went up. I think she was getting ready to block it, but realized the ball was coming to her, so she just gave it a whack and sent it flying. Saints up 15-10. Braun back to serve once again. Here comes a laser serve by Braun. Comes across. Dahl sets it up. Nice elevation. Shelby Hessel drives it down for the Tigers and scores. Cuts the lead to 4 now for the Saints. Cruiser back to serve now for the Tigers. Cruiser's serve comes across. Olsen, Warner, and then it's going to be Lean who just pushes it to the back. And another point there for Shelby Hessel. Finds the soft spot. Cruiser back to serve again. Her serve comes across and long. So that'll be a point for the Saints. Little breathing room once again for the Saints. 16-12 now is our score in set number 3. The Tigers won set number 1, 25-20. St. Croix Falls won set number 2, 25-21. And St. Croix Falls leads set number 3, 17-12 here in set number 3. And we're going to take a timeout. We'll be back in just a moment after we hear a word from one of our sponsors.
At Burnett Medical Center, we celebrate all walks of life. From our very first steps to our sprinting strides, from on-the-job site to afterlife retirement. At BMC, we embrace every pair of feet that walks through our doors. Our comprehensive care knows no bounds. It's for the newborns, the professionals, the adventurers, and those who've traveled many miles. We're here to support you. Your journey is unique, and so is our approach to your well-being. Step into BMC, where comprehensive healthcare meets compassion. Burnett Medical Center, providing healthcare for all walks of life.
All right, back to serve now is Warner. Warner's serve comes across. Hessel with another big drive. Olsen with a drive blocked by the Tigers. Hessel sends it across. Warner, Allram, Olsen. Score. (18-12) now. Warner back to serve once again for the Saints. Long. 18-13 is our score. Back into the game, number 25, Lauren Witta. Nice ace there for Finley Peterson. Found that soft spot once again. Tigers back within 4. Peterson back to serve again. Her serve comes across. Allram picks it up. Big drive by Shimon. Lean brings it across to the Tigers. Hessel, Warner, Allram, Olsen off the top of the net. Hessel keeps it alive, sends it across. Braun now this time. And the good volley once again, and the Tigers can't quite keep it alive. That'll be a point for the Saints. 19-14. Saints 5-point lead here in set number 3. So Riley Lean back to serve once again. Her serve lofts it high this time. Set by Peterson. Hessel with a drive. And score. She gets a kill. 19-14. Quincy Olsen checks in. Replaces Zifka. Back to serve was Moore. Kept alive nicely. Nice job there by Cruiser getting a hand on it, but unable to keep it going was for the Tigers, and so it'll be a point for the Saints, 20-15. Abby Palmer into serve now for the Saints. Palmer's serve comes across. They're going to get 4 hits as that ball was into the net. And so not touched by the Saints, but just hit into the net. So 21-15. Palmer back to serve once again. Here's Palmer's serve. Goes up. Peterson with a set. Big hit was Hessel, but blocked by the Saints. 22-15 now. So biggest lead, I think, for the Saints in this third set at 7. Palmer still serving for the Saints. Peterson with a set. Hessel with a drive and finds a spot there. Knocks it down. So 22-16. Savannah Moore checks back in, or comes back onto the floor. Coach Hessel wanted a substitution or a rotation, or as a rotation question here, making sure everyone's in the right spots. Harms back to serve for the Tigers. Harms' serve comes across, picked up. Now it's going to be Shimon who sends it long. Student section all yelled tip, but unfortunately their opinion doesn't really matter. The only one that matters are the officials. Warner with a big drive. Hessel off the blockers. And here come the Tigers now. 22-18. Back within 4. Addison Harms still serving for the Tigers. Tigers trying to claw back into this one. Serve comes across. Braun drives down. Kept alive here. Hessel brings it across. Now it's going to be Olsen who drives it down. Off into the ceiling. Or is it going to come down? Hessel keeps it alive. Nice job by Hessel. Shimon with a drive. Hessel brings it back across again. Allram over to Olsen. Olsen from the line drives it up. Peterson sets. Off the fingertips was Quincy Olsen and drops it in. It was just enough. And that'll be a point for the Tigers. 22-19, 3 points now. Addison Harms back to serve here still for the Tigers. Her serve comes across. Olsen sets. Warner tips it up. And it was over the antenna. Point for the Saints. Britta Olsen now back to serve. Olsen's knuckleball serve comes across. Big drive by Quincy Olsen. Another point for the Tigers. St. Croix Falls keeps trying to separate here, but the Tigers keep climbing back into it. Emma Dahl back into the game now for the Tigers. She's on to serve. Her serve comes across, picked up. Shimon into the net. Another point for the Tigers. 23-21. Emma Dahl back to serve again. Dahl's serve comes, picked up by Palmer. Now it's going to be Warner off the top of the net, bounces back up, and 23-22 is our score. So 23-22, timeout is called by St. Croix Falls. We'll take that timeout along with them and be back in just a moment. Again, St. Croix Falls and Tigers all tied up one set apiece. It's the Saints 23, Tigers 22 in set number 3. Once again, St. Croix Falls will be back in action on Thursday here in St. Croix. They'll be hosting the Hayward Hurricane. For the Tigers, they will be in action on the 2nd as well. Kept alive nicely. Now hitting it across are the Tigers. Olsen sets across and scoring are the Tigers. We're tied up 23-23. The Tigers will be at Cumberland on Thursday. Here comes the serve by the Tigers. Warner drives, kept alive by the Saints. They got to get it across, and they do. And tipped down with a nice, possibly set-saving play there. I didn't see which of the Saints it was in the front line, but just tipped it down to the the front corner, and that is a point for the Saints. Allram on to serve now for the Saints. Allram's serve comes across, nearly mishandled, but kept alive. Allram tip, Olsen over to Lean, who gets it into the blocker and scores a point. St. Croix Falls takes set number 3 and a 2-1 lead here in St. Croix. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are back here in St. Croix Falls. St. Croix Falls has a 2-1 lead here in set and heading into set number 4. This is Rose leading the roller coaster. So here we are, set number 4, Saints with a 2-1 lead. Peterson starts it off with a big serve for the Tigers, and somehow keeping it alive but sliding under the net is Olsen. That'll be a point for the Tigers. So Olsen kept it alive but couldn't stop as she slid, went under the net, and that's a point for the Tigers. Peterson back to serve once again for the Tigers. Her serve comes across, and an ace. Right in front of an outstretched Braun. So back to serve now. And kept alive by Lean as it plays pinball. A big hit, but kept alive. That was Hessel, I think. And that big drive there, or that push across, was Shelby Hessel as she scores the 3rd point for the Tigers. So Peterson rolled off 3 straight points here. Make that 4. So St. Croix Falls began set number 3 with a 4-0 lead before Tigers called timeout. Tigers take a 4-0 lead here in set 4. Serve into the net. That'll be a point for the Saints. McKenna Warner back to serve here for the Saints. Her serve comes across. Zifko picked it up. Hessel brings it across. Shimon slaps it over. Hessel with another drive. Off the blockers, out of bounds. It'll be a point for the Saints. I'm sorry, Tigers. I got our points all messed up here. Sorry about that. We'll get this right. Olsen off the hands of Harms. And a point for the Saints. There we go. Now we got our scores correct. 5-2 is our score. Lean back to serve. Lean's serve comes across. Set by Peterson. Brought across by Witta. But out of bounds, it'll be Saints point. 5-2 now. 5-3, I'm sorry. Lean's serve comes. Nice hit there by Addison Harms, who drives it into the blockers and gets it trapped in the net. That'll be a point for the Tigers. 6-3. Oh, nice drive. Harms serve for the Tigers, brings it across. Oh, nice play. I believe it was number 21, Quincy Olson. Harms still serving here for the Tigers. Brings it across. Warner sets. Olson drives off the hands of Hessel. A big point for the Saints. 8-4 is our score. Sorry about those scoreboard inconsistencies here. Abby Palmer serves. Peterson sets. Big drive by the freshman Moore. Olson with a big drive. I believe last year we called those Brita bombs. Palmer back to serve once again. Her serve comes across, picked up, set by Peterson. Nice drive by Olson. Britta Olson with another one. 8-6 now. Saints trying to climb back in. Peterson brings it across. Kept alive by Cruiser. Shimon finds a soft spot, sets it across. Miscommunication on the Tigers side, and it's 8-7. Palmer back to serve once again. Palmer's serve nearly out of bounds. Probably the right decision to take it, though. And a point for the Saints. I would be lying if I told you I knew what that point was. I am a football, basketball, baseball guy doing volleyball here. Sorry about that. But a point for the Saints nonetheless. That one goes off of the line judge for a point for the Saints. Easiest call he made all night as took it off the shoulder. Palmer still serving here on a nice roll for the Saints. Olson with a big drive for the Tigers. Shimon brings it across and finds a soft spot just like her sister did. And that'll be a point for the Saints. St. Croix Falls. My score is so wrong. No, it's not. 10-8. All right. We got it right. 10-8. Palmer still serving. Her serve comes across. Picked up by Hessel. A big drive by Savannah Moore, I believe it was, in the middle, who says enough with that and scores for the Tigers. Into the game now for the Tigers is Dahl, who serves it across. Here comes Braun, elevates, drives it down. Olson tips it across for the Tigers. Nice set and spike, but Allram keeps it alive. Britta drives it down. Allram keeps it alive. Warner now sets. Shimon brings it across off the hands of Cruiser, but keeps it alive. Cruiser brings it across this way. Here comes Warner. Warner gets it over to Braun. Braun taps it across. The set goes over to the Saints. Now it's going to be a jump set. Now push to the back corner. Kept alive again. Here come the Tigers now. Olson brings it across. Palmer to Warner to Braun. Braun tries to find down low. Tigers keep it alive again. Olson brings it back this way. Warner sets up. Shimon drives off her fingertips up into the ceiling, back down. And here comes Olson bringing it back the other way. Blocked by Shimon. Point Saints. What a volley there. Back and forth we go. Both sides had amazing plays to keep that alive. And it's the Saints who come away that time with a point and an 11-9 lead here. Britta Olson back again. Her serve just stayed on that line way too long. and made its way to the back of the gym. That'll be point for the Tigers. 11-10. Zifko into the game now for the Tigers. She's on to serve. She's in the back line in the middle. Her serve comes across, goes to Allram. Allram. Warner with a big drive off the hands of Cruiser. Hessel brings it across. Britta Olsen keeps it alive for a moment, but not long enough. And we're all tied up at 11. So 11-11 now. Tigers climb back into this one and tie it back up at 11. Serve comes across. Warner tips it. Kept alive by Dahl. Hessel with a big drive. And Saints can't keep it alive. That'll be a point for the Tigers. So Tigers now lead 12-11. They started this set off with a 4-0 lead. Saints were able to climb back in. Warner now drives. Back up across. Warner waits. Warner spikes it across. Set. Comes over to Hessel. Hessel softly. Nice job there by Hessel. She's, tonight she's been so powerful, and this time just stopped her arm, tipped it across, and scored the point. Warner. Now Shimon with a drive and a score. Nice job there by Jocelyn Shimon. Now back to serve for the Saints is going to be Allram. Allram brings it across. Blocked by the Saints. Braun tips it back. Dahl with a set. Hessel tips it over. Allram to Lean. Gets it just across the net. Hessel back the other way and drops it in. Precision on that one. Addison Harms back in. She replaces Cruiser. Back to serve is Savannah Moore. Moore comes across. And never getting over the net. So another point for the Tigers. 15-12. Braun with a drive into the bench. 16-12. See if they're going to get a timeout here, and they are going to get a timeout. So St. Croix Falls takes the timeout, and we'll take that timeout along with them. Hopefully you'll continue to join us here on We Are SCF. Again, thank you to our sponsors. See those sponsors scrolling across the bottom of our screen. We're so thankful for the work they do to sponsor all the games here on We Are SCF. And we are, again, this year, so far we've had football games. We'll be back. St. Croix Falls football will be in action this Friday in Cumberland, I believe. And then at home against Barron next Friday. That game will be on We Are SCF. We'll be back on next on Thursday as St. Croix Falls hosts the Hayward Hurricane. So thankful to be able to bring you these games. Thanks to our sponsors for making it possible. Back to serve now is Savannah Moore for the Tigers. Tigers lead 16-12. Warner with a big drive up into the ceiling, comes back down and out of play. Nothing the Tigers could do about that one as it goes into the crowd, or into the ceiling, that is. And so 16-13 now. Braun back on to serve. Braun's serve, lasers across, just misses. I don't know how it misses the net, but it does almost every time. Warner with a big drive to the back row, kept alive. And now here comes Hessel with a big drive of her own. Out. Not touched by the Saints. That'll be a point for the Saints. 16-14. So Lucy Braun back to serve once again for the Saints. That time just long as it just sailed back. That'll be a point for the Tigers. 17-14. Finley Peterson ready to serve here for the Tigers. Her serve picked up by Allram. Olsen. Shimon just pops it across. Hessel keeps it alive. Lean back to the Tigers. Tigers got to get it over. They do. Hessel brings it across. Set now to Warner. Warner drives, blocked. Kept alive, though, by the Tigers. Here's another great great volley by these two teams. Warner with a big drive. And that one off the hands of Zivko into the crowd, and a point for the Saints. Saints back within 2 here, 17-15, trying to close this out. Tigers would like to extend the night, at least one more set. Good block by the Saints. Hessel with a big drive and a score. (18-15) is our score. Shelby Hessel on to serve. Warner tips it across. Late call there, but it was the right call, as that ball was not hit legally, and that's going to be an ace. So 19-15 now. We'll see if we get another timeout, and we are going to get another timeout by the Saints. So Saints will take this timeout. We'll be back in just a moment. Saints keep it alive for the moment, but not long enough. 21-15 now. Hessel's serve. Allram. Britta drives it down. Nice block there by the Tigers. Olsen drives down. Blocked by Lean. Britta Olsen brings it across. Picked up by Cruiser. Saints keep it alive. Britta jumps up and kept alive for a moment by the Tigers. Cruiser did a nice job getting down, just getting her hands on it. And unfortunately for the Tigers, not able to get it up enough. So 21-16 is our score. Lean with the serve. Cruiser brings it across. Warner sets. Neither team can really get a good attack set, and they're going to say in. Northwestern's bench did not agree with that call. I have no idea. We can't see from here. Big hit by Harms, but the Saints get the point there. 21-18. Lean back to serve once again. Saints trying to climb back into this one now. And they are going to get at least a point there. 21-19. And a timeout is called this time. It's the Tigers who take the timeout. St. Croix Falls back within 2 here in set number 4. Tigers trying to extend it to set 5. Saints trying to send everybody home. We'll see who prevails here in just a moment. So lean back on to serve here for the Saints. 21-19 is our score. Tigers 21-19 is our score. Tigers lead here in set number 4. Saints lead 2-1. Olsen drives it across and scores. Drops in front of a diving lean. Tigers 3 points away from sending this to set number 5. Addison Harms back to serve for the Tigers. Serve is into the net. Point for the Saints. 22-20. Palmer on to serve now for the Saints. Palmer's serve comes across. Big hit by Moore, kept alive though. Now it's going to be Olsen who drives it. Blocked out of bounds. Saints point. 22-21. Saints within 1. Palmer serving here. Student section alive down there in front of Palmer, and that went off the antenna, out of bounds. It'll be a point for the Tigers. So Tigers 2 points ahead of the Saints, 2 points away from victory here in set number 4. Braun keeps it alive. Comes across. Olsen brings it back to the Saints. Warner sets. Shimon drives. Tigers keep it alive. Brought back by Cruiser. Warner. And out. Not tipped. So a point for the Tigers. 24-21. Tigers now 1 point away from sending this to 5 sets. Braun drives. Braun scores. 24-22. Olsen on to serve for the Saints. Olsen's got a powerful serve. The junior for the Saints steps back to the back wall. Now makes her way forward. The gym goes silent. Kept alive by Hessel. Now Moore brings it across to the Saints. Olsen sets. Warner drives. Olsen drives for the Tigers this time. Coming back the other way. Warner again switches hands. Set. Big drive into the net. Kept alive, but not long enough. And the Tigers take set number 4, 25-22. We're going to set number 5 in just a moment. We'll be back with that in just a minute. We're all tied up 2-2. All right, welcome back here in St. Croix Falls. We've got a good one here tonight. We're headed to set number 5. First one to 15 wins here. St. Croix Falls, Tigers won set number 1, 20-25. St. Croix Falls won sets 2 and 3, and then the Tigers won set 4. Saints keep it alive, bring it across. A little miscommunication. That'll be a point for the Saints. So in set number 5, every point matters. And both teams, I think, wish they could have had those back. Oh, and Warner gets the luck of the draw as she drops it off the net, but powered it enough that it hit the net and went across. Saints 2-1. Warner off the hands of the Tigers. 3-1 with the ace. McKenna Warner back to serve again for the Saints. Her serve comes across. Set is up. Hessel brings it now. Olsen with a big drive. Nowhere to go. St. Croix Falls up 4-1. We'll see what the Tigers are going to do here. Going to let it ride. McKenna Warner back to serve once again. Warner's serve comes across. Big drive. That was Shelby Hessel. Puts an end to the Tigers, or to the Saints scoring with a big drive from the near side. Hessel serves. And out is the call. The two line judges had two different calls there, but it's going to be 4-3 is our score. Hessel's serve comes across, brought back to the Tigers. Olsen off the antenna, so 5-3. Riley Lean now serving for the Saints. Lean waits, her serve comes across. Olsen pushes it across to Olsen. Warner, Shimon, off of Hessel. Warner over to Britta Olsen. Britta Olsen drives off of the arms of Cruiser. Big drive by Britta Olsen. 6-3 now is the score. Riley Lean back again. Serve comes across. Cruiser keeps it. Britta Olsen with another big drive, and she drops it in again. 7-3. And a timeout is called by the Tigers. 7-3 is our score in decisive set number 5. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, Saints up 7-3. Riley Lean back to serve. Once again, her serve comes across. Back line, kept alive by Hessel. And here it comes to the Saints. Nice job again by the Tigers, scrambling. Nobody there for the Tigers, and so the Saints score again. Nice job that time by the Saints. Number 16, Jocelyn Shimon, who sent it to the back. Caught the Tigers off guard a bit and leaned back to serve once again. She's rallied off a couple here. Big hit by Moore. Big hit by Britta. Kept alive by the Tigers. Olsen now brings it across. And that time the bump just put it right into the Tigers' laps there, as Warner had no choice but to just step back and see what was going to happen, and the Tigers took full advantage, as they should have. Harms now on to serve for the Tigers, trailing 8-4. Saints got to get it across, and they do. Free ball comes across, set by Peterson. Big drive. And out call. 8-5 now. Harms on to serve once again. Shimon with a drive, but into the net. Here come the Tigers, trailing by just 2 now, 8-6. Harms serving again for the Tigers. What a back and forth affair it's been here tonight. Britta Olsen drives down, almost knocks Harms over, but she kept it alive for the Tigers, and Tigers send it back to the Saints. Shimon with a drive. Kept alive again. Britta again with a drive. Off balance a bit. Tigers, here come the Tigers. Olsen brings it across. Allram keeps it alive. Braun. Now Britta. Peterson sets. Olsen with a drive. Long. Saints point. 9-6 now is the score. Abby Palmer back into the game. She's done a nice job there serving for the Saints tonight. Abby's serve comes across. Olsen drives. Abby picks it up, puts it up into the ceiling. Olsen gets it, keeps it alive. Sent back to the Tigers as that ball just kind of rolled across the top of the net. Here it comes back this way. Britta keeps it alive. Saints just send the free ball back over again. Peterson sets. Big drive by the freshman. Moore, and a score off the block. St. Croix Falls up 10-6. Great hustle both sides of the net again that time. Keeping the volley alive. Abby on to serve once again. Her serve comes across, goes to the back. Set by Peterson. Drive by Moore. Blocked by the Saints. Coming back this way again. It's Olsen who brings it across this time. Off the ceiling. Britta drives. Kept it alive by Cruiser, but nobody there. St. Croix Falls picks up another point. And now St. Croix Falls leads 11-6. The Tigers take another timeout. Saints can taste it. So this night has been back and forth over and over. This night has been back and forth all night long. Tigers won set number 1, 25-20. Sets number 2 and 3 went to the Saints, 25-21, 25-23. And then the Tigers took set number 4, 25-22. And here we are in set 5, 11-6 is our score. Abby Palmer still serving for the Saints. Once again, the Saints will be back in action on Thursday night against the Hayward Hurricane here in St. Croix. That'll be here on We Are SCF. Palmer's serve. Olsen drives across and finds it. Drops it in for a point. 11-7. Here come the Tigers. Emma Dahl checks into the game for the Tigers. She's back to serve now. Her serve comes across, picked up by Allram. Allram set by Olsen. Now Braun with the left hand tips it across and can't keep it alive on the Tigers. So Saints up 12-7. Saints 3 points away from victory here, staying undefeated in the heart of the North and moving to 4-0. Tigers, though, have something to say about that. Moore gets it. Now Olsen pushes it across. Olsen sets. McKenna gets it across somehow. Back to Olsen. McKenna. Olsen. Back to McKenna. McKenna drives. Allram keeps it alive. McKenna again. McKenna brings it across, and it's going to be wide. A point for the Tigers. Warner's like, I got to get one of these to go. Zifko on to serve for the Tigers. Shimon hits it into the net. Another point for the Tigers. 12-9. Told you the Tigers weren't going to go down quietly here. Zifko on to serve again. Her serve comes across, picked up by Allram. Allram now to Olsen. Olsen to McKenna. Warner drives it and scores. Warner finally got one of those to score as she finds the floor. On to serve now is Allram. Allram, 13-9 is our score. Olsen keeps it alive. Now over to Lean. Lean brings it across. Cruiser keeps it alive. Hessel with a big drive. Olsen keeps it alive on the Saints side. Now comes across and out of bounds. Tigers get the point. 13-10. Freshman Savannah Moore on to serve now for the Tigers. Her serve comes across. Olsen sets. Tipped across by Braun. Lean keeps it alive. Olsen. Warner scores! McKenna Warner gets another one. 14-10. St. Croix Falls 1 point away now. They got their ace server, Braun, on to serve. Hessel brings it across. Olsen sets to Warner. Warner taken over into the net. It's got to get across, and it does. They keep it alive. Olsen, Warner, drive, score, win! St. Croix Falls with the victory. St. Croix Falls Saints victory over the Northwestern Tigers. What a night here by both the Saints and the Tigers. Back and forth affair. Took 5 of them, but the St. Croix Falls get victory in set number 5, 15-10. Saints fans will be back in action next on Thursday night as the Hurricane come to town. Congratulations to the St. Croix Falls Saints. Thanks to the Northwestern Tigers. Good luck the rest of the season for the Tigers as they make their way through. Again, they fall now to 2-2 in the heart of the North. St. Croix Falls moves to 4-0. We'll stay on here until the team comes back out and breaks it down at midcourt, along with the student section made up of a lot of football players and a few others out there. I want to thank our sponsors once again for making this broadcast possible. And here come the Saints as they make their way back out. As they're going to break it down here in the student section as the St. Croix Falls tradition. So again, we'll be back on the air on Thursday against with the St. Croix Falls versus Hayward volleyball game. St. Croix Falls football will be in action on Friday night in Cumberland, and then next Friday night here in St. Croix Falls. That'll be on We Are SCF as well. Thanks for tuning in and watching here on We Are SCF. It's been Saints volleyball. Saints with the 3-2 victory and move to 4-0 in the Heart of the North Conference. Thanks for watching. This has been Saints volleyball, and We Are